as we practice yoga and as we practice different forms of this entire yogic process, it takes us to a certain state. And that is what the corresponding sutra talks about. It says, Tada Drushta Swaroope Aswastha. Now, Tada Drushta Swaroope Aswastha, I will just explain what it means. The first word, Tada, it says that the outcome of what? The outcome of Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. So the outcome is that Drushta Swaroope Aswastha. Now, to understand Drushta Swaroope Aswastha, there are different dimensions in which we can, talk about this profound statement. And since yoga not just talks about body and mind, it talks about to the ultimate level of existence in which the entire philosophy is based upon. So this statement has got the highest meaning in that context. But we can understand this also in the context of mental health and see how this Tada Drushta Swaroope Aswastha manifests in the context of our mental health issues and the suffering that we have because of thoughts and emotions. So Drushta Swaroope Aswastha is basically, Drushta means a witness or an observer or a seer, and Swaroope Aswastha means the form of it and the state of it in which it resides. So the observer is residing in its natural state. Now the observer here is the consciousness, the original consciousness which the entire our yogic philosophy talks about. But this is of the ultimate experience which the yoga offers. For our discussion, we will take a different manifestation of this, in which we'll talk about how at our mental level we see the reality and we construct the reality around. Now we know that most of the thoughts and emotions, like you explained, there are thousands of thoughts which go around in our mind, and it is not just that there is one thought and then there is a second thought. It is like a train of thought that goes on, and the train of thought that goes on creates an emotion. Now you can also discuss what is the difference between thought and emotion and how this impacts us. So these are simply, we can understand these are the two sides of the same coin. Not much of a difference is there. When thought is there, there is a corresponding emotion associated with it is also there. So the moment like we are sitting here and talking, and in our own lives, our mind is constantly churning out different kinds of thoughts coming in from the memory or thinking about the future. Now what happens exactly is that we identify so much with the thoughts and emotions that we are taken for the ride by this thoughts and emotions that come to our mind. Now what does that exactly mean is that we'll just try to understand this with a simple example or an analogy, and not so straightforward, but just trying to make it more easier for our audience to understand. And that is, let's say a person is standing in on a metro station, and a metro train comes. Now this person is so much like he's attached, or he identifies so much with the train. He gets so much overwhelmed when a train comes that he boards it, and then the metro train takes the person for a ride, and then after some time the person comes to his normal senses that where I am, and then the train drops the person to a different station altogether. Now he's standing there and thinking, where am I? What happened? A lot of time got passed, and I came to a wrong station altogether. And then the suffering is happening at the same time. Now another train comes. Now this train, just understand it, is like a kind of a emotion that is coming into the mind. Now it gets again so much overwhelmed by it, gets identified with the train that he boards another train. And then this metro train drops into another station. So the traveler, originally he wanted to go to a particular destination, let's say B. Now he is roaming around, and the train, different emotions are dropping him to a different station altogether. So this is the kind of existence that most of us are living in. And the root cause of this is that whenever a thought and emotion comes in, we identify with it. And this identification primarily happens through what is loosely translated as an ego, and coming in from the original yogic Sankhya philosophy as ahankara. But we'll not delve into the details of what all it comprises. So this identification is the root cause of this whole mental health issues and suffering that our mind undergoes. But the emotion itself is not the problem. That is the difference that we have to understand. And we'll try to establish that in subsequent sessions, how it happens. But for from the perspective of this sutra, the Drushta, Swaroope, Aswastha, and how this manifests at our mental level of existence, is now we have to get into a higher level of awareness and see that, okay, I am standing there, a train comes, I am watching that train. Instead of identifying it and boarding it, I am just simply watching it. And the train goes. Another train comes. And again, I'm just watching it. And the train goes. Now, wherever I have to go, when that corresponding train comes, I will board the train only then. So this happens because we have tried to take our mental level of existence from the identification mode to an observer mode or a seer mode. That it was Drushta, Swaroope, Aswastha actually is. And we have created a kind of distance between us and the emotions and thoughts. So we are able to manage it effectively. Rather than this taking us into the direction of all the miseries and suffering, we are just trying to eliminate that simply by being an observer of it. And whenever whatever is the necessary thought that we have to work upon, we wait for that to come and then we take action accordingly. But having said that, the most important thing in our lives is to be able to experience that, and that happens only through years of practice.